Coming up, Colin and Jimmy welcome Brent Pearson from Alpha Foundations. They talk about foundation problems, repairs, and unique ways to lift and level concrete slabs. And stay tuned to hear some of the strangest things that he's found in crawl spaces.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Studs, your home improvement and remodeling podcast, where the two most entertaining guys discuss the do's and don'ts in home construction and in the remodeling industry. Remember that you can nail it, paint it, or just tune into the show. How about that? Here are your hosts, Colin Shaw and Jimmy Driscoll.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Behind the Studs. Hello, Jim.
Hello, Colin.
How are you today, sir?
I am chipper, thanks.
Oh, fantastic.
It's a wonderful, wonderful day it is today here, beautiful downtown Connecticut.
The accent's not Connecticut.
I know it is.
I don't know what the accent is. Is that British?
That's just one of my. This was one of my other psycho personalities that are coming out today.
Okay.
Yeah, bro.
You know, I can only handle the Jimmy persona. I don't think I can take another personality that you
really?
have. Yeah, I don't think I can.
I feel bad for our guest.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what's coming.
He has no idea. We may lose.
No, we won't.
No, he won't just hit. Stop.
We have a very, very exciting guest today.
We do. We have Brent Pearson with Alpha Foundations. He's a senior sales manager for them, and they do concrete foundations, all sorts of stuff like that.
Crawl spaces.
And crawl spaces and everything fun.
Everything that's got gray and other colors.
And now we know there's other colors too. Right. So let's welcome Brent. Hey, Brent, how you doing?
I'm well, guys. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. We do appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
And we've been trying to find somebody to come on and talk about foundations because we always have lots of questions with that, and I'm sure you get inundated all the time with them. So,
sure.
First, tell us how long you've been with the company.
Right around 4 years now. It's gone by pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised people aren't beating your door down to talk about foundation repairs. Super exciting.
Yeah, because you know about Connecticut and all the damages we've got.
I've heard good things.
You've heard good things? Oh, boy.
That's right.
You're not talking to me then.
That's right.
Yeah. I'd rather be where you are.
Have you been called out to come up here and do any work at all?
No, not really. That'd be a pretty good trip for us. Probably about 20-something hour drive. So we try to keep it about 2 to 3 hours maximum. There, so. A little out of my jurisdiction.
All right, but is your company nationwide?
We are really located in South Georgia, and North Florida is where we originated from, but we go all the way down to Miami. So basically most of Florida now and South Georgia is where we kind of tend to stick to these days.
Great.
Well, we know all the way down south, it's really not about the wood. It is about the stone and the brick because of the situation with termites and stuff like that. Am I correct?
Sure. Yeah, well, most things that we deal with is typically soil related. Poor compaction of the soil, washout and dry out of the soil. Those are the three main reasons people pick up the phone and call us. Of course, they don't know why they're calling us. They just know they have cracks in their drywall, cracks in their brick, and they're kind of freaking out. So they give us a call, but it usually always boils down to a soil issue. Sometimes there's some builder error, but for the most part, that goes into the poor compaction. But sometimes it's out of the human's hands, and it's all about the dirt there.
Well, isn't it in Florida? You're dealing with weak soil. It's because of it's limestone, right? It's like limestone and sand.
Yeah, it can be. Depend. North Florida, South Georgia, North Florida have close to the same soils. There's just a lot of clay, and then you go down to Miami, and you don't have to go that far before you're hitting, coral and things like that. So. Different depths and things like that can affect how the soil behaves. So a lot of soil, the density and like that, so it can change. But in North Florida, South Georgia, you're dealing with a lot of clay, very expansive soils, which can affect the house, how it moves with either a dry season, or if we get a lot of rain, that can affect how the soil behaves and what the house does on top of it.
So what are some of your recommendations? Like, what does somebody do that's down in that area that they might not necessarily do somewhere up around here?
That's a good question. Mainly, there's not a whole lot you can do when it comes to that. Most people say, why don't people put some of our products around the house when they're building a house? Go ahead and do that. But that's not something that most people think about unless they've had an issue in the past. So what most people will do is put all their money into master suites and master bedrooms and pools and all. They're not doing a whole lot of preventative maintenance when it comes to the soil, but there's not a whole lot they can do unless they had some kind of soil report saying that there's not very much competent soil around the area. It's not something that most people think about until it happens to them, and then they'll pick up the phone and give us a call once they notice that there's an issue, but not a lot on the front end.
Now, the local building departments or anything else, they don't, or the state at the state level, they don't mandate certain things be done for that reason.
Yeah, when you have fill soil, that's certain compaction ratios that's got to meet and certain guidelines with that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the homes have to be inspected when it comes to footings inspections and slab inspections. But mainly, I mean, they're not saying, hey, you have to have this kind of product or anything like that. It's mainly as long as it meets the inspections and codes that you're good to go until you have an issue. So some houses, they can have issues with as little as 2 to 3 years, some during the building process, but mainly it's, several years down the road when the soil starts to move, that the home starts telling on itself that you have an issue. So yeah, there's definitely guidelines, but the soil has its own agenda, what it wants to do.
Okay. So when people start having problems, what is it that, you guys do to fix that?
Yeah, so the problems that they might have is, they're sitting around, especially COVID. COVID's been kind of a game changer for us because everybody's just sitting in their homes looking around and they go, damn, Jim, what's that above the window? Why is there a big crack right there? Or why is this door not functioning properly? And we don't have this really here in Florida because it's hot as hell always. So we're not opening up a bunch of windows because the AC is always running. But if the window doesn't open properly, that becomes, some movement there in the footing. So they'll pick up the phone and give us a call, and we'll go out there and we do free inspections. We make sure we know exactly what we're talking about. So we see 350 to 400 houses a year per design tech. That's individuals who go out to the house. And we do a thorough inspection, make sure we know exactly what's going on with the house, and then so diagnose it properly, and then give a report on how to fix it based on the customer's concerns. So. Yep.
Okay. So if they're having those issues where the doors aren't closing properly, windows aren't opening properly, what is it that you guys can do to fix that? Like how do you fix a foundation at that point?
Well, it depends on. I mean, the foundation, as you know, it all starts with the footing. So the footing's what helps disperse the load, and the footing depends on how big it is, depending on how big the house is, what it's engineered for. So. If someone has cracks in their brick on the outside or their stucco, or their doors aren't working properly, that, like I said, that's a soil issue. So we'll go out there, see what's going on. And if it's the outside footing, we typically fix that with a helical pier. That's when we bypass that incompetent soil, get down to the good load-bearing strata, the soil that doesn't move, permanently stabilize that house that has had signs of settlement, and actually can lift the home back up into a place or close to its original position as possible.
Wow.
Do you use like a sonic machine to vibrate to the ground to find out when you're going to hit the hard subfloor where it's not moving, the base? Or
we've used those in the past, but we actually have soil readings for all over the state and South Georgia, so we know that competent soil, we know where it lies and how far you have to go down to reach that. In most parts of the state, I mean, you could be going down 14 feet all the way down to 60, 70, 80 feet. It all just depends, but we have readings all over the state, so we know exactly where to go to.
Holy cow.
So are you doing commercial also besides residential?
We do both. Yes, sir. We can we can handle either. Yep.
See these guys down south is like, yes, sir.
Yeah, I know. They're so nice. Yes, sir. See, that's why I want to leave here.
I know.
Everybody up here is like, screw you.
They're all nice and polite.
Just fix it.
Yes, sir.
Just fix it. Shut up.
Yeah. What are you doing in my yard? That's what we get.
Yeah.
That's right. It's kind of like that when you go South Florida. That's just an extension of the north there. So, we deal with all kinds of buildings, commercial, residential. We can handle it all. Yeah, all different types of folks as well.
Yeah. Our apologies for the snowbirds.
Yeah. They're not apologizing.
No, they're not.
They like their houses fixed as well.
Right. Oh, yes, they do. Yeah.
So I have a question. This has been running through my mind a little bit as we've been talking about this. When you just mentioned Miami, so they're putting in a high-rise building. Do they ever call you out, or they're dealing with their own engineers who are dealing with the soil themselves, right? The integrity of the soil. Like you said, they dig down, they hit coral.
Mm-hmm. If they're doing a high rise, I mean, that's that's a completely whole different deal. They have their own engineers basically on retainer that they're working with. And I mean, those things are taking years and years to get off the ground. So not that we couldn't help them, but for the most part, they have their own team that does everything for that particular project. But if you have, if you have as a regular residential house or a decent sized commercial building that doesn't have that capability of having folks on retainer, then we definitely can be called in pre-construction or after the fact once it has failed, which we hate to see that, but that's kind of why we're here, to fix those problems.
If I was going to build a house in Florida or wherever you are, I would definitely call you guys, because you don't know. It can be a crapshoot when you're digging. And we have a house. I actually worked on the house. You called me over to paint that house. There was a house that was built. It was like a raised ranch. They had a hill in the backyard. Remember, they built the slab.
Oh yeah.
And that whole back of that foundation cracked and fell. And it dropped a good foot and a half.
Yep.
Everything inside the house, everything, all the doors, everything was cracks everywhere. And that was just poor compactation. Compacting the dirt.
Yep.
It was just let go.
Yeah, so that's what you really look at the outside of that house that you're talking about. It is sitting on a footing. That is what's holding the load of the house. As you know, corners are your heaviest load there, so we do a lot of work on the corners of the house. But that home, the footing needs to be sit on competent soils, and 14 to 21 feet down, somewhere around there, you could have voids, you could have just movement, especially when it is highly impacted by rain or a lack thereof. Once the soil starts to go, the footing can't hold itself up for so long before it starts to move. And we're not talking about 3 or 4 inches of settlement. Sometimes it's just only a quarter of inch of settlement, which the house is going to crack and tell on itself, and it could be some big problems up the higher you go.
Sure.
The higher you go, the exaggerated the crack gets, and can be some big problems for homeowners.
Wow. Interesting.
Now, what about French drains? Do you guys deal with that sort of stuff too? Is that something that you guys recommend, or? Yeah,
I mean, we definitely could do them, but we try to stay away from things that we don't do every day. And I mean, we dabble. I mean, we could dabble in all that stuff, but we want to stay in our lane, do exactly what we do every day, all day, and in my opinion, better than anyone else. So the French drains, stopping water from getting to the footings is huge. So I recommend gutters every day, all day, but not just gutters. You need to take that downspout and get them away from the footings. Right. So, I mean, an average rainfall can shed a ton of water off the roof down to the gutter system, straight down on your footings, causing wet, weak soil, causing the footings to start to go after a while, and then the house starting to break all to pieces. So love gutters, but they need to go away from the house, get water away.
Yeah, right. Smart.
Agree.
Yeah, definitely agree.
But some people don't like gutters. They don't like the look of them.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. You go to some people's house and it's like they're talking about the water getting in the basement and stuff. I'm like, well, what about gutters? Nah, we don't like gutters. No,
they don't like.
They serve a purpose. Yeah, they serve a purpose. Yeah,
they do.
Then we got a foundation guy you might like.
Yeah,
that's right. A foundation guy you might like.
It's gonna cost you a little bit, but because you got to come from Florida. Right.
So if I go out to a house and I see there's like a gigantic crack on the outside of their brick, a customer might say, hey, do I need gutters? And the answer is absolutely. But however, you're a little late on that. I mean, the gutters aren't going to help you now going forward. So we need to go ahead and stabilize it, keeping it from ever moving again and go from there. But some people just don't like the look of gutters. And I mean, I get it, but they're making them look pretty nice these days.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's so many different options today. So, and you get the gutter guards and everything else on there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's well worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah. So you guys have basements up there, correct?
Yeah, we have basements. I know you guys are just usually on slabs, right?
Yeah, either slabs or crawl spaces are the big things that we have here. If I run 400 appointments in a year, I'll maybe see 1/4 of a basement.
Oh wow.
So we just don't have those. I wish we did. That'd be a lot of fun to work on, but we don't have those here.
We got basements and we got radon, so it's
we got all the good stuff. Yeah,
that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's New England for you.
Yeah,
so I'm sure you already know, right, the foundation issues that we're having of our western part of Connecticut. I guess it was the mix that they did and all the houses that they did in the what was it, in the 70s, 80s?
I think it was the 80s.
It was the 80s?
I think so.
So we got major problems with some houses with huge cracks, and it's just
flaking and it's falling apart. It's just disintegrating. So there was something in the mix that just wasn't right, and nobody caught it for years and years.
But it's like, it's all traces through the state of clumps of houses that are just disintegrating when they're foundations, and the companies are going in there and rebuilding foundations, trying to shore them up. Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, pretty bad. Yep.
So are they moving out of the house, or are they just, what are they doing when it comes to that?
I think FEMA is involved in some of them. We should actually get one of the homeowners on the show.
Yeah.
Dealing with that. I'm sure some people have had to leave because it's been severe damage on some houses. And it's just so costly. I don't even know if insurance is involved in this. I think FEMA is involved in it now.
I'm pretty sure the insurance companies didn't take any ownership for that.
Yeah. So I would imagine they don't want to play that game.
No. That's a costly one right there.
That's right.
Yeah, they don't want that exposure for sure.
So it's all in a resolved situation right now. We hear from time to time.
Yeah.
But I guess that's another bridge. Maybe that's another topic we can get into with some homeowners if they can get on the show, tell us about their nightmares and stuff like that.
I feel horrible for those people.
Yeah.
Right.
So you color your slabs sometimes? Is that what you do? Your crawl spaces or whatever?
Do we color them?
Yeah, because we were talking.
If we have, what we can do, we can lift and level concrete slabs that have sunk due to, like we were talking about earlier, doing the pour compaction, washout, and dry out. So we can actually lift and level slabs back up to original position, so you don't have to rip it out and replace it. We do that with a system called PolyLevel, where it's completely hydrophobic. Within 15 minutes, it's 90% cured. So if a customer comes home and they just finally get to that point where they're just tired of dealing with their cracked driveway, or there's sunken walkways and there's trip hazards or pool decks. We do more pool decks than probably just about anybody in the country there. So we can lift and level those up, 90% cured. After 15 minutes, people can enjoy their property as soon as we leave it.
That's crazy.
That's awesome. Wow. It's probably the coolest product we have, where people just sit there and watch it and they're just like, man, this is awesome. I'm so thankful that I didn't have to rip this out.
What is it? You expand it, or is it liquid form and then you pour it in, it expands and then freezes, or
correct?
Solidifies?
I can. Typically, what I'll do, I'll show like a slight video of how it works to our homeowners, and they're like, "Man, it looks like that great stuff that you see in a can that you do gaps around windows and door frames."
Yeah. Kind of like a spray foam. Yeah.
Correct. And I'll say, hey, it's exactly like that in theory. It's just an engineered on a totally different level. So what we'll do is drill like a pea-sized hole in the concrete and inject it from the top. So 7 to 10 seconds, it flows like water, finds all the voids, compresses the soil, and will lift where we want it to lift. And it's just a great alternative to either mud jacking or ripping it out and replacing it.
Man, how do you lift that to where you need it?
Yeah, how do you know how much?
You don't shoot too much.
Yeah. All right, now we're the dum-dum, so help us out.
That's okay. Well, just like I tell my customers, it's a $250,000 machine, so they don't allow me anywhere near it. It's more of an art than a science, but our foremen who would do this every day, all day, more than anybody in the country, they use back pressure, so they know exactly how much is going in there, how much pounds of foam. They'll go back from port to port to port, making sure they're spreading it all evenly. And digital tape measures, it is, like I said, more of an art than a science, but they know exactly what's going on, because overlifting it would be terrible. And we're not in the business of tearing things up. So they know exactly how much is going in the ground, what they need to do to achieve the ultimate lift and success for the homeowner.
Wow.
So I learned something interesting about a month and a half ago. My buddy is working on a job where they're pouring the floors in these buildings, and it was so they're building the levels, they get them all, they're pouring the cement, and they were just getting ready to put the offices in. And I guess the test that they do is they take a chain and they run it across the floor, and all air pockets.
Yeah,
so they had to go back in and jackhammer the floors back up, get all the pockets out, and re-pour those sections of floors. Crazy, huh?
Yeah, and that's an old school method right there.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of the engineers noticed something was wrong, and which it was explained to me briefly. I won't get into it now, but the way, well, you know how cement works when you pour it and when you float it. It has, it has a nature of it, which is very, very common. For some reason, the air didn't come up, the air went down, and it just formed pockets. So you had a membrane on top, but inside you had a pocket of air.
Wow.
And when they dragged the chain across the floor, they found it. They were finding it all over the place.
Huh.
And they redo all these floors.
Yeah.
So Brent, they use something other than chains these days?
Yeah, we do a little bit different than that, but that's kind of an old school method where they have, I think they call it like a 4-chain, where they just drag these chains, listening for voids underneath the slab. So that's kind of wild that people still do that. I didn't know anybody was still doing that these days.
Well, we're in New England. Do a lot of weird things in New England.
Old tricks.
Yeah, I mean, and for us,
he was dragging
and for us,
chain,
it's pretty
and he had
obvious.
a Dunkin' Donuts, and he had a Dunkin' Donuts in his hand.
Yeah.
Donuts, and he's dragging the chain.
Somebody learned back on the farm.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Get the chain, Chad.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, so for us, it's pretty obvious when the concrete is sunk. I mean, number one, there's a crack there. Number two, little Timmy has fallen and busted his face open. So the homeowners are calling to get some stuff done, so we can go lift it up, level it up, seal the cracks and joints, make sure water's not flowing under there, eroding soil, do what's best for the concrete, and it doesn't take very long at all.
Huh. Now, do you guys deal with cement stairs, like front stoops in front of houses?
Yep.
You guys deal with that?
Correct.
Too? Do you guys
Yes,
have
sir.
the same problem down there where it kind of just sinks down and then next or starts to pull apart from the foundation? Or
Yes, sir.
You use that
We
great
have
stuff.
that.
yeah.
That's all you gotta do. Just squirt the great stuff in there.
That's it. That's all they do.
Yeah.
These guys are so
DIYers,
easy.
please don't try that at home with the spray foam, please.
Can you imagine that?
I keep spraying it, but nothing's happening.
Nothing's happening.
Easy peasy.
But for $11, that's a quick fix. It's hard to beat.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it
That's
is.
right.
And it can make a mess too. So what do you guys do? You guys use the same process to kind of raise that back up and resecure it, or?
Yeah, we can. What I would do, I go out there and just see how it was built. And if it's got a footing, then it needs some piers, some helical piers on it. And if it's just got a slab, then I could lift it up with poly level.
Wow.
Just depends on the application, how it's built.
Yep.
Interesting.
Wow.
So now, how thick do you guys make? Are the pads supposed to be like around a pool or something like that? I mean, do you guys go 4-inch, 6-inch?
Yeah, most in Florida and South Georgia, the average driveway, pool deck, walkway is going to be a 4-inch slab, and we just drill through that and inject the foam. And I mean, even if it was thicker, the poly level can still handle it. It's super strong. We use it on commercial applications, roads, bridges, things like that. We got one of those going in right now for a bridge. So as long as it's got a slab, the poly level it'll play.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's pretty cool stuff. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So we ask everybody this question: any horror stories that you've seen? Something that you've walked into and you're like, oh wow.
Dude, how much time do you have?
I know. Really. I got nothing going on.
I was wondering if you guys were going to ask me that, so I got to be careful about not to tell on any customers we have. But
nobody listens to the show. Don't worry about
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, until now.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, we've had all kinds of stuff with crawl spaces. Crawl spaces tend to be pretty fun. I found a bed under one last year on a college campus here. There was a bed, so someone's definitely been living in the crawl space. And it wasn't a nice crawl space either. It was super gross, snakes, rats, roaches. But someone was living down there. We found coffins in some before. All kinds of stuff like that. It was empty until we paid our design tech $300 to get in there and take a selfie.
Oh,
and then proceeded not to pay him. So
Wow. Yeah.
That was silly on his part for thinking we'd actually pay him for that selfie.
Yeah, you should have gone for the money up front.
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
I haven't even got over that yet. There's a bed under a.
Right. Can you just imagine sleeping down there?
Yeah, I got a snake in the way. Hey, get out of the way.
Gross. I don't know if there's enough money to get me to live under there for a while.
No. I guess you do a lot of shots as a college kid, so maybe he didn't even know where he was. Who knows?
Oh
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm sure we got stories for days. I'm just trying to say any without getting anybody in trouble.
I hear you.
I understand.
Totally
I understand. Yeah, we're usually careful on our stories as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I don't want to stop anybody from calling us, I've been told.
Right. There you go. Right. Yes.
Could you imagine?
It all works out. Yes.
It all works out. Exactly.
Yeah. Bring us your tough situations. We got you under control.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah. So most of our guys see 400 houses a year, and we have probably 70 to 75 who run Florida and South Georgia. So there's quite the culmination of stories and some things we can share off site.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we know we got a lot of snakes down there.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Tons of those. I don't have to deal with them in the crawl space as much as you think. A lot of snake skin I'll see, but I mean, you've heard the whole, they're more afraid of you than you are of them, or whatever that is. That is an absolute
Not anymore.
lie.
Yo,
That is an
I'm with
absolute
you.
lie.
Yeah, I'm afraid of them.
I've seen snakes go by in Florida with human belts on.
So that you can put a saddle on. I know.
Yeah. Dude.
No way.
Really?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Anything that can come at me without feet, I don't like it. No feet, no legs. I don't like it.
Oh yeah. So one lady said,
what's your
be careful. There was a python under there, a python sighting under there. So absolutely checked out and said that someone else needed to come help her out on her crawl space because it's not going to be me.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
So what's the worst for you? Is it rats, spiders, or snakes, or all of the above?
So in that order, or in the order, it's going to be snakes is the worst, and then rats, roaches. Spiders don't bother me. I'm not a big fan, but they're not nowhere near the category of snakes and roaches and rats. Those are my three top. I can't take them.
Oh my God. My brother-in-law, rest his soul, tough as nails. He got you back in a bar fight. Oh my God. I think he chewed nails for breakfast. And this guy, I've been working with him in the basement. I'm outside. All of a sudden I see a 2x4 go through the basement window. Boom!
Really?
I go, what's the matter? He goes, spider. It was a spider. Hate spiders. They were aliens. They came from another planet. He couldn't deal with spiders. 2x4 right through the window. Yeah. Bang! What's the matter? Spider. I was upset.
I did have one about the size of your hand that made me exit pretty quick, and that took me a little bit to get over that guy.
Yeah.
He was swift. He moved swift.
Yeah. Swift?
Yes, he was swift.
Really? Get out now? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was his house.
Yeah. And he can have it.
You can have
Absolutely.
It.
Yep.
Man.
Oh man. Well, Brent, we really do appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Had a lot of fun.
Good. So Brent Pearson with Alpha Foundations. Again, he was the senior sales manager there. And if you're down in the Florida or South Georgia area, give them a call.
Call them. Have them build your house.
You guys.
Do your foundation.
Right. All right.
That's right.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you guys.
Anytime.
Have a good one.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
man.
you too. All right, Jim. We've done another show. We've done what we can do.
Yes, we can.
All right. See everybody next week.
See ya.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.